One thing that happened is the Me Too movement. That happened after I had raised my Series A at IR Labs, which was a $24 million round. And there was a big difference in Silicon Valley after the Me Too movement happened. Another big thing that changed was COVID. Pitching went from being a thing where you drive to, you know, Palo Alto and drive up and down Sand Hill Road, which is what I did for the seed and the Series A of IR Labs, to just meeting on Zoom, which really increased, I think, accessibility for founders around the world. Like, it's hard to get to Silicon Valley if you're not living there already. And so yeah, on the Me Too movement, the reason I say things feel really different now is because, are you able to edit, by the way? Because there's like noise and I
Yes.
want to close my window. Okay, let me just
Yeah, totally.
close the window here. Alex, can you please go elsewhere? You're really.
Okay, there's another Alex in the house.
And he's my husband.
Oh, I love that.
I was like texting him being like, shut up, I'm on a podcast. And he was not getting it.
It's
And it's hot.
hilarious.
I don't know about where you are, but it's so hot. I don't want to close my window.
So hot. Like, yeah, the hottest March ever. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So you were
So
getting into some good stuff.
that Me Too movement.
It
Okay.
was Me Too and how it changed Silicon Valley for
Yeah.
the better.
So I'll
Because the
jump back
funding
in
gap
here.
is still there. So I'm super curious to hear.
Yeah. So before the Me Too movement happened, I had some experiences of just overt misogyny where, like for our seed round, for example, I would be pitching a male VC and I could barely start talking and they would just interrupt and talk over me. And like I couldn't even get a whole sentence out without them just constantly interrupting me. And then when finally I gave up, uh, and asked my co-founder sitting next to me, an engineer who was not at all trained on how to pitch the company. And I was just like, Jen, why don't you explain? And then he was listened to with respect. He could explain and I just sat silent for the rest of the pitch and let him do the pitching. And that was rare. I would say, most people were respectful of me, even if they were surprised when I walked in, because typically it wasn't a woman pitching a semiconductor startup. Once I opened my words and we started getting on the topic, I found that those types of visual things kind of fell away. And once we got in on the topic, it was just a regular conversation. But there was the rare exception where that wasn't the case. And I just experienced disdain, talking over me, etc. Those were never the ones who ended up investing. And I would kind of stress, like agonize over it, be like, oh my God, what do I do? And they like, the world is terrible. Like, why can't I just get a word edgewise? And I need to try to convince these guys to invest. And then when I realized, you know what, they're not going to invest anyway, and I shouldn't waste my energy on them. And I should focus on the ones who listen to me with respect. My life got a lot easier when I made that decision. But then fast forward a few years later, the Me Too movement happened. And it ended up being those same partners at big VC firms who were outed as actual harassers and who got let go from their VC firms. Yeah. So it was actually like, it felt good to realize it wasn't just in my head that I was being
Mm.
disrespected. And actually, these were people who had a pattern of that. And to see that there were repercussions felt so good. And so I do think the world has improved a lot since the Me Too movement. I think it was rare already when I was starting IR Labs for people to be that misogynistic, but now it's even more rare, which is fantastic.
I love that. Yay, progress.
Yeah.